Imagine a world where the east coast of America was attached to the west coast of Africa, where all the continents were clustered together in one gigantic landmass. A world where you could walk from what is now Australia to Antarctica without getting your feet wet. Welcome to Pangea. Today we'll dive into the curious world of this supercontinent, journeying back millions of years to an Earth unrecognizable from today's perspective. We'll explore what it looked like, how it could have shaped life, and even the legacy it left on our modern world. Now, what was Pangea, really? Picture a world where the continents aren't spread out as they are now. Instead, they're all clustered together in a C-shaped supercontinent. The entire landmass was called Pangea, a name derived from the ancient Greek for all land. This isn't an overstatement. It was one giant landmass that took up nearly a third of the planet's surface. The northern part of Pangea, known as Laurasia, would touch the North Pole and comprise what we now know as North America, Europe, and most of Asia. Imagine walking from New York to Moscow without the need for a plane or ship. On the south Gondwana, you'd find a strange mix of today's southern hemisphere. That's right, parts of South America, Africa, India, Australia, and even Antarctica were all fused together. Imagine once upon a time the bustling cities of Buenos Aires, Cape Town, Sydney and Mumbai were part of the same landmass. The eastern coastline of Pangea was formed by what we now know as the eastern seaboard of North America, the western reaches of Europe, and parts of Asia. This means that the Appalachian Mountains were once directly connected to the Scottish Highlands and the Atlas Mountains in Morocco. On the western front, you would find areas corresponding to modern-day South America and Africa. A long mountain range extended through this region, a predecessor to the Andes and the Atlas Mountains. In the heart of Pangea lay the central Pangean Mountains, a mountain range stretching from present-day northeastern America through North Africa and into Western Europe. These peaks rivaled the Himalayas and were home to an array of unique flora and fauna. And Pangea was not all land, though. Enormous freshwater lakes and rivers would have crisscrossed the supercontinent, providing vital waterways for the unique species that called this place home. And on one side of this enormous supercontinent lay the all-encompassing Panthalassa Ocean. So you see, Pangea was an entirely different world, a geographical jigsaw where every piece was connected, fostering a unique and diverse array of environments that would shape life on Earth for millions of years to come. Pangea, the name alone conjures up images of a wild, different world, but just how different was it? Well, let's step back in time and take a stroll through the mega-continent to find out. One thing to consider in this unimaginably different world is the weather. With such an enormous landmass, the interior regions of Pangea were very far from any coast. In fact, some parts were so isolated from the ocean that they were believed to have been desert-like, with extreme temperatures and little rainfall. Just think about the Sahara Desert, but on a much larger scale. Yet Pangea wasn't all arid wilderness. The mountain ranges that ran across the continent likely hosted a variety of environments, from lush forests on their lower slopes to potentially snow-capped peaks. The mountainous regions of Pangea could have been home to a wide array of life, from hardy mountain plants to agile, sure-footed animals. Think of the Andes or the Himalayas today, places teeming with life in an array of climates. Closer to the coasts, the climate would have been more moderate, with plentiful rainfall and more mild temperatures. Here you'd likely find a mixture of forests and grasslands, similar to the plains of Africa or the forests of the eastern United States today. But the weather wasn't the only variable in this vast expanse. The movement of tectonic plates also played a significant role in shaping the environment. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other seismic activities would have been common, leading to a constantly changing and evolving landscape. These conditions dramatically affected the distribution of life. The coastal regions, with their milder climates and access to the ocean, would likely have been teeming with biodiversity, while the interior, with its harsher conditions, would have hosted hardier species adapted to the tough environment. So living conditions on Pangea were a mixed bag of opportunities and challenges, each shaping the development and adaptation of life in unique ways. If you lived in Pangea, depending on where you found yourself, every day could be a very different experience. Dinosaurs, dinosaurs, dinosaurs. That's what you're probably thinking right now, and you're not wrong. But before we dive into the age of dinosaurs, it's important to understand the wider context of life on Pangaea, because Pangaea wasn't just about giant, terrifying reptiles. No, it was a stage for an incredibly diverse cast of organisms. But let's start with the big guys. Indeed, Pangaea's existence coincided with the rise and dominance of dinosaurs, but remember, these creatures didn't come out of nowhere. They evolved from a group of reptiles called archosaurs and quickly diversified into a myriad of shapes, sizes, and ecological roles. The unity of Pangaea allowed these creatures to spread widely and evolve in different ways according to the local conditions. In the dense forests of coastal Pangaea, you would have encountered herbivorous dinosaurs like the long-necked Diplodocus, feasting on tall conifer trees. In the arid interior, agile and hardy theropods, including early relatives of the T-Rex, might have been hunting down prey. And speaking of plants, let's not forget about the flora that carpeted Pangaea. During this period, the plant kingdom was going through its own revolution. Ferns, horsetails, and gymnosperms, seed-producing plants without flowers, like conifers and cycads, dominated the landscape. And it's worth noting, the first primitive trees also emerged during this era, becoming an essential part of many ecosystems and a key food source for herbivorous dinosaurs. But let's not forget the oceans. The seas surrounding Pangaea were full of life. You'd find an array of marine reptiles like the dolphin-like ichthyosaurs, the fearsome seagoing lizards known as mosasaurs, and the long-necked plesiosaurs. You'd also encounter a wide variety of fish, squid-like ammonites, and numerous other invertebrates. Even the skies weren't empty. This is the era that saw the emergence of the pterosaurs, the first animals after insects to achieve powered flight. So if you looked up, you might see the majestic sight of a pterosaur soaring above. From coast to inland, from the bottom of the seas to the skies above, Pangaea was a lively world, teeming with a plethora of creatures. Each environment, shaped by its unique conditions, hosted a unique ensemble of life, painting a picture of Pangaea as a world of both savage beauty and biodiversity. Let's fast forward back to the present. Or should I say, let's rewind from the past. Because the truth is, the echoes of Pangaea can be heard, seen, and felt even in today's world. But how does a supercontinent that existed hundreds of millions of years ago still influence us today? For starters, Pangaea has fundamentally shaped the world's geography. The breakup of this supercontinent resulted in the distribution of continents as we know them today, but the drift hasn't stopped. The continents are still moving, albeit at a slow pace, a few centimeters per year. The tectonic activity related to these movements produces earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and the creation of mountain ranges, all remnants of Pangeas Legacy. Moreover, Pangaea's split resulted in the formation of the Atlantic Ocean. Today, this ocean plays a pivotal role in governing the Earth's climate. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC, a major current system within the Atlantic, is a primary regulator of global climate. It carries warm water from the tropics to the North Atlantic, where the water cools and sinks before flowing back toward the south. This circulation pattern influences the climate of the coastal regions it passes, underscoring the far-reaching impact of Pangaea's breakup. Next, let's talk about biodiversity. The varied environments of Pangaea allowed for an incredible diversification of life forms, leading to the complex ecosystems we have today. The isolation of continents after Pangaea's breakup further spurred evolution, leading to the unique flora and fauna found in different parts of the world. And finally, let's consider resources. Many of the mineral and fossil fuel deposits we exploit today were formed during the Pangaea era. These resources have fueled the human civilization's growth and will continue to do so until we transition completely to renewable energy sources. So while Pangaea might be a thing of the past, its effects ripple through time, influencing our geography, our climate, our biodiversity, and our resources. It is a testament to the interconnectedness of Earth's systems and a powerful reminder that even in a world constantly changing, the past always finds a way to shape the present. And as always, thanks for watching. Through our journey today, we've discovered a world long vanished yet still so interconnected with our own. From the jigsaw puzzle-like arrangement of our continents to the climatic patterns and the very biodiversity we see around us, Pangaea's influence is etched deeply into the Earth. It's a constant reminder that nothing on our planet happens in isolation. Every mountain, every species, every gust of wind, and every drop of rain is a part of a vast, interconnected system, one that has been billions of years in the making.